You're watching Central Indiana's only 24-hour news service on Indiana's own Wish TV, Channel 8. Now, Neil Moore, Tina Crosby, meteorologist Ben Wood, and Sports Locker with Mark Patrick. 24-hour News 8 continues now.
We have to go on and work the crime as if he is still a suspect. The only difference now is we cannot speak to him from this point on.
He was the key suspect in last week's strangulation death of a 12-year-old Hamilton County girl, but today, that case took a strange and disturbing twist after investigators learned Kelly McGill, their prime suspect, committed suicide. Good evening. 12-year-old Rita Eisenhower was found strangled to death less than a week ago in a remote area up in Hamilton County.
Since that time, police have questioned 28-year-old Kelly McGill of Cicero twice. They say they were making progress, but admit, with the discovery of McGill's apparent suicide today, much of that progress has come to a screeching halt. Hamilton County investigators say 28-year-old cab driver Kelly McGill was a suspect from the beginning. He knew the family of 12-year-old Rita Eisenhower and was known to give the youngster rides on a regular basis. But he had not yet been arrested in her strangulation death, and never will be. This morning, he was found in room 209 at this Northeast Side Indianapolis Dollar Inn with an apparent self-inflicted shotgun blast to the head.
When I knocked on the door and didn't get a response, I opened up and hollered housekeeping, and I seen the body laying there.
Investigators say McGill left a note, but won't reveal its contents. They also won't say if they were about to arrest McGill, but did offer some insight into his personality based on 2 interviews.
Mr. McGill was a very complex individual, though. He showed some signs of intelligence, and he was very complex.
And while McGill was a prime suspect, he wasn't the only suspect. For now, the case stays open.
The information that he has given us, yes, will be useful in the investigation. It does cause a problem in the investigation when you cannot go back to the individual now and either confirm or deny his statements that he's made, so we'll have to go to other sources to try to do that.
The Hamilton County Sheriff's Department says McGill will remain one of 3 suspects in the case. And investigators say at this time they have no reason to suspect foul play in the apparent suicide of McGill.
Well, in Bloomington, a massive search is underway for a missing IU graduate student. The student, 24-year-old Eileen Wall, was in the midst of finals week when she suddenly disappeared. Today, her family told our Anne-Marie Tiernan they hope she's only a phone call away.
Love you very much. Please give us a call or come home to us. Just call us. We'll be here. I'll be here, Eileen. Call.
John Wall is praying he'll soon hear from his daughter. He says 24-year-old Eileen left her home Friday morning and within minutes crashed her car. A neighbor reportedly saw her running from the accident into the woods. Her family and friends haven't heard from her since.
Investigators are using helicopters and dogs to find Eileen. Some dogs followed tracks down here to the water's edge, but then lost the scent. But investigators think if Eileen was here, they would have found her by now.
We leave ourselves with maybe a 5 to 10% margin of error. There's a possibility she might still be here. We don't think so.
Divers are scanning Lake Monroe, and ground teams are searching 6 square miles. Eileen's parents say she is a perfectionist with an A average and plans to become a teacher. They feared she allowed an impending term paper deadline to thrust her into despair.
People who are that good are under a lot of internal pressure. And I think she's the kind of person who probably put herself under a lot of pressure.
Is it locked up? Investigators doubt Eileen met with foul play. They say she could have become disoriented after the crash, or perhaps is too embarrassed to return.
And I think that the trauma of the accident and everything else may have just come crashing down as something that this is an impossible thing to deal with. It's not. It's not an impossible thing to deal with. We can deal with it. But she's got to just call us if she can call us.
Eileen was barefoot and without a coat when she left. Since then, it's rained and temperatures have dropped below freezing. Meanwhile, her family is agonizing over her condition.
I just want her to know that her family are all waiting at home and that we're all ready for her phone call.
At Lake Monroe, Anne-Marie Tiernan, Wish TV, News 8.
Now, if you have any information that will aid the Bloomington investigation, you're encouraged to call 812-837-9536.
Some other news this evening. Rescue plans are in full swing in the Somalian city of Kismayo tonight. At the crack of dawn, multinational forces landed in the city. 230 U.S. Marines and 100 Belgian commandos landed at the port, facing no opposition. Across the country in Mogadishu, U.S. Marines shot and wounded a Somali gunman today. He allegedly pointed a machine gun at them from a truck. That happened after troops came under fire near Mogadishu's Parliament building. The truck sped away, taking the wounded man. President Bush and Prime Minister John Major say they're prepared to try stopping the violence in what's left of Yugoslavia. Today, they wrapped up meetings by agreeing on a no-fly zone over Bosnia-Herzegovina. Major says he wants to make sure troops doing humanitarian work will not be in danger. Meanwhile, Serbians went to the polls today, voting for the next president. So far, the race is a dead heat.
Well, tomorrow, Israel's Supreme Court will consider the legality of the expulsions of more than 400 Palestinians. The exiles spent a third night in freezing weather on a rocky hillside between Israeli and Lebanese checkpoints. Lebanon has refused to grant them entry. Doctors say 150 of the men are sick. Israel expelled them after Muslim fundamentalists killed several Israeli soldiers. A Cuban defector has successfully completed a daring mission to bring his family to the United States. Almost 2 years ago, Orestes Lorenzo Perez, a former Cuban Air Force major, defected by flying his MiG jet to Florida. He tried having his wife and 2 sons join him legally, but Cuba refused. So Orestes flew a small plane back to his homeland, landed on a busy road, and picked the family up.
Wow, daring mission.
I'll say.
Well, coming up on Sports Locker, the Colts fly past the Cardinals to keep their winning streak alive.
And next, Christmas trees get to Bill Clinton's head.
Warm hearts and an auction go a long way to help fire victims in Trafalgar. I'm Letitia Mile. We'll explain coming up on News 8.
For 93, we've given every Mercury Cougar a sporty new interior. We've given every Cougar $800 more in standard.
As he's close to completing his cabinet choices, he still needs to fill 8 posts.
And several appointments are expected this week. And after a morning jog today, Clinton told reporters that he went to the doctor yesterday because he has allergies. And he says those are caused by the Christmas tree, the wreaths, and evergreen garlands that decorate his home. But he says he'd rather suffer than not celebrate the Christmas holiday. Well, about 200 demonstrators in Cincinnati have kept the Ku Klux Klan from erecting a cross in the Fountain Square area of downtown. A federal court ordered the city to allow a menorah to be displayed in the square, and city officials were also told they had to allow the Klan to place a cross in the same area. Police officials say they did not think that the Klan members would show up once they saw the protesters.
Well, when a fire gutted Jackie Moore's house earlier this month, a woman and her 3 children lost nearly everything they owned. Without insurance to cover the cost, they were hard-pressed to make ends meet this holiday season. But as News 8's Letitia Mile found out, generosity of a small Indiana town has come to the rescue.
Somebody give $10. I got 5, now 10, 5 and a 10 and a $10 bill, now 10 and a $15 bill, now 15, 15, 15.
It seemed like nearly the entire town of Trafalgar turned out for the auction. Then again, they were setting out to help one of their own.
You bought it $41, now 50.
Hundreds of items sold here had no price tags. Their value went far beyond any numbers.
Hey, Bobby, lot 9. I've got a 4-piece canister stuff.
Among buyers, Jackie Moore, the driving force behind this auction. She and her family were left homeless by a fire.
In many of the cases, 100% of the money each item brings in is donated directly to the family.
The money will help us start a new home and a new life together.
One of the biggest draws, a paperback book about Washington, D.C., straight from our nation's capital, and signed by Indiana Senator Dan Coates. The final bid, $130.
You bought it.
But it was this letter, one signed by Senator Richard Lugar, that brought in an even higher bid. You see, when the fire broke out, Jackie Moore's son Ryan was attending a Richard Lugar symposium. Lugar's donation to the cause, breakfast with the buyer.
I have no idea what this letter's going to be worth, but it's the next thing we're going to auction.
Jim Dressler found shelling out $325 to sit with the senator was a bargain.
I thought it was pretty cheap, really, because how else could you get a chance to sit down and talk to him for an hour? But I just wish everybody a Merry Christmas and hope this works out well for the family here.
I just overwhelmed with gratitude to everyone that has helped us, and this community has really pulled together to help us, and the kids and I are just, will be forever grateful.
In Trafalgar, Letitia Mile, Wish TV, News 8. And by the way, the benefit auction raised an estimated $3,000 to $5,000 for the family. A very Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed, you got to
Nice
love
gesture,
that.
huh?
I think we're going upstairs, are we?
Yeah, we're going to head up to the roof of our building here, and
Yeah.
Ben Woods is standing by to tell us a little bit about our weather situation.
Hi there, Neil and Tina. Yes, it certainly is cold enough to snow. But will it? You'll have to wait for the answer. Coming up in a live weather forecast right after this.